Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So now guys, we're back there again. The preacher man, chancer man, 419 guy, also known as the Nigerian pastor, another one of them. This one is debuting on this channel. Guys, I bring you this. Buhari's government told to immediately arrest and jail Anambra prophet Odumeje. So that's the headline that we're contending with now. I've seen this guy about before on social media, rollicking and frolicking like some nightclub baron, but allegedly, apparently, is a pastor. Again, the headline: Buhari's government told to immediately arrest and jail Anambra prophet Odumeje. Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, HURIWA, they love their acronyms in Nigeria, has asked the Governor, Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, to order the arrest of the controversial Onitsha-based Maverick Religious Center operator, the self-proclaimed Prophet Chukwuemeka Oniamere, also known as Odumeje. HURIWA accused the self-proclaimed prophet of serial abuse of the Nigerian Naira and other currencies during his public ceremonies in his location in Onitsha. HURIWA expressed consternation that despite the wanton and arbitrary disrespect and outright abuse of the Nigerian Naira and other currencies during the religious rituals, which are usually transmitted live globally and aired on all social media platforms and watched by millions of viewers, the Central Bank of Nigeria has failed to take concrete and verifiable steps to arrest and prosecute the prophet. The rights group said it has resolved to write officially to the Honorable Minister of Finance, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and President Muhammadu Buhari to implore them to stand up and defend the Naira. HURIWA has asked the authorities to stop the global defacing of the Naira, which is often telecast globally, showing the acclaimed prophet throwing the Naira and other currencies on the floor of his worship center. The organization noted that Odumeje, who also calls himself many other different names such as the liquid metal and Indaboski, has contributed significantly to bringing global opprobrium to our national currency and has seriously indicted the federal government as unwilling to defend the Naira, even when the Constitution recognizes that the law is no respecter of persons or authority. The group, in a statement signed by its national coordinator, Emmanuel Onwobiki, said, "We have watched with disappointment as this self-professed Prophet Odumeje keeps abusing and defacing the national currency, and both the police and the Central Bank of Nigeria have failed for many months to stamp their authorities and prosecute these serial abusers of the national currency." We recall that in 2018, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, organized a CBN fair in Calabar, where it used the opportunity to create awareness and sensitize the public on the appropriate use of the Naira, Nigeria's legal tender. CBN also cautioned Nigerians against abusing the Naira note, warning that anyone caught would risk 6 months imprisonment or pay a fine of 50,000 Naira. HURIWA agrees with an observer who wrote that the unwholesome practice of hawking, spraying off, dancing, and marching on notes at social events significantly fuels the abuse and degradation of the notes. HURIWA similarly endorses the position that the effect of these is that within a short time of issuance of mint notes by the CBN, the notes become an eyesore, and if not quickly withdrawn and reprinted, a national disgrace and embarrassment ensues. HURIWA recalled that according to Section 21, Sub 3 of the CBN Act 2007, spraying off, dancing, or matching on the naira or any note issued by the bank CBN during social occasions or otherwise howsoever shall constitute abuse and defacing of the naira or such note, and shall be punishable under subsection 1 of this same section. The same body of law in section 5I went further to affirm as follows: matching, which is stepping on, to include spraying and scattering and littering of any surface with any naira note or coin, and stepping thereon, regardless of the value, volume, occasion, or intent. Whilst in section 5.2, spraying, including adorning, decorating, or spraying anything or any person or any part of any person or the person of another with naira note or coin, or sprinkling or sticking of naira notes or coins in a similar manner, regardless of the amount, occasion, or intent. Specifically in sections 21.4, it is also a punishable offense for any person to hawk, sell, or otherwise trade in naira note, coin, or any other note issued by the bank. The organization recalled that the stated offenses above are punishable under subsection 21.1, which provides, amongst other things, that a person shall on conviction be liable to imprisonment for a term of not less than 6 months, or to a fine not less than 50,000 naira, or to both such fine and imprisonment. The organization added, "We ask the CBN to ensure that the legal provisions that should have protected the naira notes from abuse, which are today being observed more in breach than in compliance, should be reversed. It is true, as observed recently by a patriotic citizen, that quite disappointingly, CBN and the security agencies have had their eyes glued close while the nation and its inhabitants suffer from preventable abuse of the national currency. Just as we reaffirm and re-echo the fact, as stated by an observer, that as it were, the law against abuse of the naira has been in place for over a decade, yet the CBN is still at the stage of awareness creation and sensitization of citizens, whereas religious houses are openly celebrating the abuse of the national currency, which is a legal tender that ought to be respected by the citizens and every Nigerian. This unfortunate trend of inertia and inaction by the CBN should be changed immediately. What other better way to do this than to use the Onitsha-based religious comedian and self-proclaimed prophet Mr. Odumeje as an example for others to stop abusing the naira? The organization said it has decided to approach President Muhammadu Buhari to charge him to compel all relevant agencies of the government to begin the strict enforcement of the law. The organization recalls that the Central Bank of Nigeria had recently warned Nigerians against abusing the naira note. The Apex Bank said that anyone caught abusing the naira would be prosecuted, and if convicted, the person is in risk of 6 months in jail and a fine of 50,000 naira. An official of the Currency Operation Department of the CBN in Abuja, Mr. Samuel Shaubu, disclosed this in Calabar, Cross River State, during the commencement of a CBN fair to sensitize campaign for residents in the state on the appropriate use of the naira. The organization has therefore asked the CBN to take action rather than continue in propaganda and the impression that the bank is working to protect the integrity of the national currency. So this is now a long-winded roundabout way of these people gunning for this guy. So now I have absolutely no sympathy for or with this guy. Of course, he irritates me no end. He's a clownish guy and a comedian, of course, but then of course is the poster boy, is the one really that makes true of the fallacy that is the Nigerian pastor, because this guy, it might as well be him as anyone else, as Oyedepo or Suleiman, because they are all same of same, just jumping jacks, bouncing up and down on some rostrum and asking people to line up in an orderly file and empty the contents of their wallets into a basket. It beggars belief. So it is quite frightening and alarming what goes on within the Nigerian space. But this is now the pathway now that these people are trying to use to give this guy a good flogging, a good koboko in. And if there's anybody on this planet that deserves 100 lashes of koboko, it is especially this guy. I mean, you can see his image on your screen anyway. I don't really need to describe this guy to you. You can see what it. Look at this. Is a man that purports to be a man of God. This guy looks like a nightclub promoter. It looks like some guy that you would see running like a strip club or something, like some gigolo, fine boy, hide your wife and your daughters away from him, because his only job, it looks like one of those. Which part of the presentation of this guy suggests that is anything like a preacher man or a pastor or anybody that, because there's no, the one thing you expect to see from a preacher man is piety. We're not saying that they should look impoverished, but they should look at least conservative and a little bit reserved, and there's some elements of piety to their personality. All these elements completely lacking, not just from this guy, but it's the very antithesis of all of that presentation. And this is a guy that presents himself to the gullible as a preacher man. Conversations in the comment section. Preacher man, chancer man, 419er. What is the difference really? I don't know it. Perhaps you do. If you do, then come tell me what you think the differences are in the comment section. But before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. Bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what you're making of this Connyman die, Connyman bury sort of preacher men that we have in Nigeria in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on with you in the comment section. But here I say peace.